Have you ever felt like everything these days comes with a long list of side effects, a prescription, or a price tag that makes you sigh? Like you can't even sneeze without someone trying to sell you a supplement, schedule you for an injection, or push you into some trendy wellness craze? If you've ever thought, whatever happened to the old ways that actually worked, you're not alone. Let me tell you something. Our grandmothers knew a thing or two about staying strong, sharp, and spirited without ever stepping foot in a clinic for Botox or a cabinet full of pills. And the best part? Their secrets didn't come wrapped in mystery or magic, just simple, down-to-earth habits that anyone can start. No needles or witchcraft required. These secrets aren't locked away in dusty books or lost with time. They're right here, ready to be rediscovered. They're the kind of tricks that don't just make you feel better, they make you feel like yourself again. More energy, less stiffness, clearer thoughts, a better mood. And no, you don't have to turn your life upside down. You just need to turn back to what already worked. So today, we're having a cozy, honest chat, just you and me, about these time-tested habits. And I promise, nothing fancy, nothing complicated. Just the wisdom that's quietly kept many grandmothers going strong into their 80s and 90s, with smiles on their faces and fire in their souls. Let's start with one of the most underrated secrets: the healing power of warmth. Not heat, like from an oven or sauna. I mean warmth from foods, from herbs, from how you treat your body. You see, as we age, our bodies naturally cool down inside. According to Dr. Elson Huss, a well-known integrative medicine physician, internal coldness, especially in digestion, can slow down energy, weaken the immune system, and make joints stiffer. That's why Grandma always started the day with something warm. Maybe it was a simple mug of hot lemon water with a bit of honey, or a slow-cooked bowl of oats with cinnamon. That wasn't just comfort food. It was medicine in a bowl. Warm meals in the morning help wake up your digestion, soothe your stomach, and improve nutrient absorption. It's a small shift, but a powerful one. Next time you reach for cold cereal and milk, try this instead. Cook your oats slowly with a sprinkle of turmeric and a dash of black pepper. Not only will it warm you from the inside, but turmeric is a powerful anti-inflammatory, backed by Harvard researchers to help reduce joint pain and boost memory. And Grandma didn't even need a study to tell her it worked. She just knew. Now, let's talk about something that might make you smile. Movement. Not exercise, mind you. Not treadmills or lifting dumbbells, unless you enjoy that. I'm talking about what Grandma did every single day without calling it a workout. She moved with purpose. Sweeping the porch, picking herbs, hanging laundry, walking to the market. Everything was an opportunity to move the body in gentle, rhythmic ways. And it turns out, this kind of movement is exactly what modern experts recommend now. Dr. Joan Vernikos, a former director at NASA, has talked extensively about how natural, low-intensity movement throughout the day is more important than intense workouts for older adults. In fact, she calls it gravity-based living, keeping the body in motion so it doesn't stiffen or weaken. So, if you're feeling tired, tight, or sluggish, don't wait for the motivation to do a big workout. Just get up and do what Grandma did. A little here, a little there. Sweep the kitchen. Water the plants. Reach up to the top shelf, and then down to the floor again. It might not look like much, but your body notices, and it thanks you. Another secret Grandma never talked much about, but practiced daily, was eating with rhythm. She had a routine. Breakfast wasn't skipped. Dinner wasn't at 10 p.m. She didn't graze all day. She had meal times, and that steady rhythm helped keep her digestion on track, her blood sugar balanced, and her energy more consistent. Nutritionist and author Dr. Mark Hyman often says that when you eat is just as important as what you eat. Our bodies love routine. When we eat erratically, it confuses our systems, leading to everything from poor sleep to brain fog to low energy. But when meals have rhythm, our internal clocks sync up and everything just works a little better. So think back. Was there a time when you felt better, slept better, had more energy? Chances are you were eating more regularly and resting more rhythmically. That's not just nostalgia. It's a clue. And speaking of eating, Grandma didn't obsess over calories or carbs. She didn't worry about superfoods. But she had one secret weapon in the kitchen that modern nutritionists absolutely rave about: fermented foods. A spoonful of sauerkraut here, a sip of homemade buttermilk there, maybe a little kefir, yogurt, or pickled vegetables. These weren't trendy health foods. They were just part of life. And they were packed with gut-friendly bacteria. Dr. David Perlmutter, neurologist and author of Brainmaker, points out that a healthy gut is deeply connected to brain health, mood, and even memory. Grandma may not have known the term microbiome, but she sure knew how to keep it happy. So, here's something simple you can do today. Add a little bit of real fermented food to your meals. Not the kind loaded with vinegar and preservatives. I'm talking the kind you find in the refrigerated section. Or even better, make yourself. Just a tablespoon with lunch or dinner. It doesn't have to be fancy. Your gut will thank you. And when your gut's happy, your whole body feels lighter, clearer, more vibrant. We're only just getting started, but already you can see how these quiet little habits, warmth, gentle movement, mealtime rhythm, and fermented foods aren't just grandma things. They're smart, science-backed, and simple ways to feel better every day. And the best part? You don't have to go out and buy anything special. No doctor's appointment, no waiting rooms, no needles, just going back to basics, going back to you. Now, take a deep breath. Doesn't it feel good to know that wellness doesn't have to be complicated? That a few changes, done with love and consistency, can make you feel like yourself again? You know, one thing about grandmothers, they didn't rush. There was a rhythm to everything they did. Whether it was steeping tea, brushing their hair, or even folding laundry, there was a calmness, a kind of mindfulness that today's fast-paced world has nearly forgotten. But hidden in that slowness is one of the most powerful, underrated secrets of all: the power of rest. Now, I don't mean just sleep. Sleep is important, of course, and we'll talk about that. But I'm talking about real rest, the kind that doesn't always involve closing your eyes. The kind that comes when you let your mind stop racing and your body simply be. Grandma had quiet moments. She'd sit by the window with a cup of tea and watch the world. She'd hum a tune while shelling peas. No phone in her hand, no screen flashing in her face, just stillness. And in that stillness, she found balance. Modern doctors, like Dr. Andrew Weil, often speak about the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest mode. It's where healing happens, where inflammation drops, where energy is restored. And yet, so many of us never enter that state because we're always doing something. But here's the good news. You can return to rest, even just 10 minutes a day. Brew some herbal tea, chamomile, ginger, or peppermint, whatever you like. Sit somewhere quiet and just breathe. Not to meditate or be productive, just to be. Rest like this brings down stress hormones, lowers blood pressure, and even helps with digestion. It's not lazy, it's wise, just like Grandma. Now, while we're talking about slowing down, let's touch on something that's often overlooked: chewing. That's right, chewing. You might laugh, but Grandma used to say, "Chew your food like it's the last piece you'll ever eat." And she meant it, because digestion doesn't begin in the stomach. It begins in the mouth. Dr. Michael Greger, a physician and nutrition expert, points out that when you chew thoroughly, you break down food better, extract more nutrients, and ease the burden on your digestive system. And guess what else? Chewing slowly sends signals to your brain that you're full, which helps prevent overeating and bloating. So next time you sit down to eat, take a moment, smell the food, take a bite, and chew. Not 3 times and swallow. Try 10, 15, 20. It's not a chore. It's a gift to your body. Now let's move on to a more emotional, yet just as powerful secret. One that every wise grandmother knew by heart: connection. Even the most independent, strong-willed grandmothers had their circles, their people. They talked to neighbors, wrote letters, sat with family over long meals. They weren't scrolling or texting, but they were deeply connected. And that kind of connection is healing. You see, loneliness is more than just a feeling. According to Dr. Vivek Murthy, the U.S. Surgeon General, chronic loneliness is as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15. It raises your risk of dementia, heart disease, depression, and more. But here's the beautiful part. Connection doesn't have to be huge or loud. It can be simple: a phone call to an old friend, a wave to your neighbor, sitting outside where you might bump into someone, or even joining a small group at the library or church. You don't need a dozen close friends. Just a few moments of real conversation can light you up from the inside. Grandma always knew that laughter over tea was better medicine than anything in a bottle. And if you're someone who values your independence, maybe you've said, "I'm fine on my own." That's wonderful. Just remember, connection doesn't mean needing someone. It means sharing something. Even a smile counts. Now, let me share another little secret, and a delicious one. You know how grandmothers always seem to have glowing skin, strong hair, and a certain sparkle in their eye? Well, believe it or not, a lot of that came from one little thing they always had in the kitchen: bone broth. Before supplements and protein powders, there was broth, rich, slow-simmered, full of minerals and natural collagen. It wasn't fancy. It was just smart. Nutritionist Sally Fallon from the Weston A. Price Foundation explains that bone broth supports joints, improves skin elasticity, strengthens the gut, and helps with hair and nail growth. And the science backs it up. Collagen and amino acids in broth can reduce inflammation and promote repair in older adults. It's as easy as tossing bones from a roasted chicken into a pot, adding some carrots, celery, onion, and water, and letting it simmer for hours. The smell alone will remind you of childhood. The benefits? Even better. Sip it warm in the afternoon instead of reaching for that sugary snack. It satisfies your hunger, soothes your stomach, and gives your body exactly what it's asking for. And before we finish for today, let's talk about one more thing Grandma always kept close: gratitude. Not as a fancy journal exercise, not as some self-help mantra, but as a quiet, constant way of seeing the world. She was grateful for the rain that watered her garden, for the pie that came out just right, for the visit from her neighbor, or the letter from a grandchild. And that attitude, day after day, wasn't just lovely, it was life-giving. Studies from Harvard and UC Berkeley have shown that daily gratitude can improve sleep, boost immunity, and even reduce symptoms of arthritis and depression. So, here's a gentle invitation. Each morning, before you rush to the kitchen or the news, say 3 things you're thankful for, out loud, big or small. Even just, "I woke up, I have warm socks, I can see the sun." You'll be surprised how much lighter the day feels. These aren't tricks. They aren't new. They're not being sold in shiny packages. They're Grandma's secrets, and they're still here for you. Simple habits, done with heart. A warm meal, a quiet moment, a good conversation, a grateful heart. That's the true medicine. And believe me, it's stronger than any needle. There's something about wisdom that doesn't shout. It whispers. It shows up in the smallest things. A certain way someone peels an apple, folds a towel, lights a candle at dusk. And if you ever spent time around a grandmother who truly knew how to live well, you probably saw this firsthand. She didn't need to preach. She just was. Now, one of the final and perhaps most powerful secrets that kept her thriving well into her later years was a little something we tend to overlook: purpose. Not a job, not a long to-do list, but a reason to get up in the morning. A reason to care. Dr. Ikigai Ken Mogi, a Japanese neuroscientist and author of The Little Book of Ikigai, explains that having a sense of purpose, something that gives meaning to our days, is one of the key reasons people in Japan's Okinawa region live so long and so well. And guess what? That sense of purpose doesn't have to be anything grand. It could be tending to a garden, making soup for a neighbor, keeping a family tradition alive. Grandma had purpose in every step. Even if it was just sitting down to sew a button back on a shirt, she did it with care, and that gave her strength. So, if you've been feeling a little lost or uncertain lately, maybe the kids are grown, maybe retirement has changed your routine, just ask yourself gently, what makes me feel needed? What lights me up, even a little? Maybe it's sharing your stories, teaching someone how to bake bread, helping a younger neighbor learn how to sew, or grow tomatoes, or fix a squeaky hinge. That's purpose. And when you have it, your body notices. You walk a little taller. Your smile stays longer. You sleep better. Another gem from Grandma's quiet wisdom: nature. You didn't have to drag her outside. She went willingly. Whether it was to check the roses, sweep the porch, or hang linens on the line, she stayed connected to the natural world. And science is finally catching up. Studies from Stanford and the University of Exeter have shown that spending even 20 minutes a day outdoors, especially around greenery, can reduce anxiety, lower blood pressure, and even boost memory. So, step outside. Feel the sun on your face. Let your hands brush through leaves or soil. Take your tea to the porch. Let the breeze remind you, you're part of this world, and it's still beautiful. Now let's revisit something Grandma didn't do. She didn't obsess. She didn't panic every time she had a new ache or saw a gray hair. There was a calm acceptance in her that made aging look not just natural, but noble. And that mindset, that inner calm, it's another secret. Because when you stop fighting aging and start living through it, you stop wasting energy. Stop worrying yourself into stress and illness. You begin to enjoy what you do have: your stories, your wisdom, your laughter, your presence. And that brings us to one final beautiful truth: joy. Grandma didn't save joy for holidays. She found it in everyday life. In fresh sheets on the bed, in music playing softly on the radio, in the way her cat stretched in the sunlight. She knew that joy isn't something you chase, it's something you notice. And so, as we wrap up this conversation, I want to remind you of something you may not hear enough. You are still vibrant. You are still worthy of good health, laughter, love, and energy. No matter what your age says, you don't need needles. You don't need potions. You don't need to chase youth. What you need is already within you, and always has been. Let's take a quick moment to reflect together, not as a checklist, but as a celebration. You've learned how warmth in food and routine brings vitality back into your day. How gentle, intentional movement keeps your joints and heart alive. How chewing slowly and resting deeply heals your body from the inside out. How gratitude, connection, purpose, and nature nourish your soul. And all of these secrets, they've stood the test of time. Passed down through generations, whispered in kitchens, sung in lullabies, and held in the hands of those who loved us enough to show us the way, without even saying a word. Now it's your turn. Not to chase perfection, not to impress anyone, but to live with joy, care, and wisdom. Try one habit today, just one. Warm up your breakfast. Step outside for fresh air. Call someone you've been thinking of. And when you do, you'll feel something shift. Your shoulders might drop. Your heart might lift. You might even smile to yourself and say, "So this is what she meant." If anything in this video sparked a memory, a thought, or a smile. Share it with us in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories, your own family secrets, or what you've tried that's made a difference in your life. And if this conversation felt like one you'd like to keep having, go ahead and click that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We've got so many more cozy chats, wellness tips, and real-life wisdom coming your way. Because aging isn't the end. It's the start of living with more intention, more kindness, and more heart than ever before. And as Grandma might say, don't forget to enjoy the little things. They're the big things in disguise.